What kind of magician is he? Street magician, stage magician?
He has his own show in South Lake Tahoe, so come
What's it
see
called?
us. Alex Ramon Magic Show.
Oh
He
my
performs at
gosh.
Harvey's Lake Tahoe.
Do you have videos of you?
Yeah, getting cut in
Find
half.
that shit, Nick.
Yeah, let me
Find
see
that
it.
shit. Let's cut her in half right now.
Has he been on Penn and Teller?
Yes, he actually won the show.
Are you kidding? I love that
If you look
show.
up
Oh, yeah?
Donald Fool's
Well,
Penn and Teller.
explain this magic trick then. You
Which
see this
one?
M&M wrapper? Here you go. Ready?
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
Wow. Yeah.
That might
was
have
pretty
won the
amazing.
You know those off-camera
I'm gonna
angles.
pretend like you
Yeah.
can just make my dick go soft.
Got nothing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I pressed that one, but okay. So you said, are we finding the video? You said how women are setting themselves up to be single, how women can sabotage their own relationships, how feminism has ruined unions between women and men.
Yeah,
Do you want to
I agree with myself
elaborate?
on all three of those.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, let's start with this first one here. Women are setting themselves up to be single. I believe that feminism is feeding women a lie. It's leading them down a path of loneliness. I don't see how a man would want you if you inherently believe that they're dangerous and they can't offer you anything. So, under that guise, how can you possibly expect somebody to want to commit to you? Doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. My next statement.
You
I
also,
have to read it, I forgot
yeah,
this.
you also wrote modern dating is trash. Hookup culture is the epitome of instant gratification and slowly chips away at especially women's self-worth. I believe women pretend to be things to look attractive to men, then get the attention they seek, so their behavior gets more and more extreme. They're being tossed around and used. We wonder why depression is at an all-time high.
Hit it on the nail.
Oh, yes. Okay, this is an easy panel. I was not expecting this tonight.
Okay, and then I guess the other thing, you tend to agree with Brian on most things except his stance on marriage. I believe marriage is important and look forward to getting married.
Yeah, and I'm surprised you flipped your stance, it sounds like. You're
Oh,
coming
no, I'm
around.
still against marriage.
Okay.
But I'm saying I could also become a stage magician in the future.
If you
I
know anyone,
could.
You could find your
It
wife
could
that way.
Actually, I wanted to be a magician when I was younger.
that's fun.
Should have followed your dreams.
Never happened.
Why didn't you?
I didn't have the dexterity for the card stuff.
It's rough. Or
It was
windows
rough.
with your hands to see through. That's a big problem.
It was very difficult. It was a hard time for me. So, the marriage stuff, I mean, do you want to make it? How about this? I've already laid out my arguments plenty of times. Why don't you give me a compelling reason why I or other men who are marriage hesitant should get married?
Let me answer your question with a question. Do you want children?
Let me answer your question with an immediate rebuttal. You don't need to be married to have children.
Well, that's correct, but thinking about the well-being of your child and setting them up for the most success, that's why I'm asking the question.
So do you believe in
People-
a partner for life and just not getting
Yeah,
married?
you can be in a monogamous long-term relationship for the entire duration of your life and have children. I fail to see how it would set them up better if you're married, especially given the divorce rate, and divorce seems to have a very negative impact on children.
So what about a prenup? Do you believe
What
in
about
that?
it?
I mean, you could have a prenup, so when you...
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah,
I mean, if
a
you-
prenup still doesn't undo the damage that a divorce has done to a child.
That's true.
I think that's what he was talking about.
Okay.
But
On,
Is that what
like,
keep
you're talking
going.
about?
No,
Kids?
I'm going. Keep going. What else? Okay. So I want kids. Go ahead.
So would you be in a long-term
Well,
relationship?
no, this is her time. This is her
Sorry,
time
I'm
to
sorry.
shine.
Sorry, I thought we were all
Jump in,
talking.
girls.
Her time. to
I feel like I
shine.
can smell the smoke.
I mean, in my opinion, a woman is going to seek marriage because she wants the security that it offers. It certainly sets a boundary around the relationship.
Yeah, that's what the woman wants.
Correct.
I asked you, why should a man get married?
Because a marriage...
For the benefit of the woman.
Right, that's what the woman wants or requires.
I'm selfish.
Okay, then.
Actually, I'm not even selfish. Hold on, that's a poor argument. What's the benefit towards the man?
You get a committed woman, but if you're not
I can get a
willing-
committed woman without marriage.
then you don't need to get married. Then great. then that's fine
Well,
for you.
come on, you need to make a stronger argument than that if you're going to convince me that marriage is good.
I mean, if you can find a woman who is perfectly okay with not getting married and having your children, then I'm happy for you. Me, personally speaking, I would not be okay with that. And I believe that a lot of women, might I say high-value women, would not be okay with such an arrangement. Because the woman is risking more in that exchange.
How is
The
she
reas-
risking more?
Well, if she is having a baby, now she's sacrificing her body potentially. If she has a career and a source of income, she's now going to hopefully quit that and become a full-time mother. So she relies on the father to provide the source of income. So that's
Oh, no. She had to not go to work every day? Oh,
No,
it's
it's a
terrible.
blessing.
It's
It's
a
really a
super high
blessing.
risk
No,
that she
I
had to
wanna be
stay
a
at
stay-at-home.
home and not go to work every
I
day.
agree
So
with
risky.
you. No, earlier on this podcast, I was saying how I could have been the perfect poster child for feminism because I have proven to be independent. I bought my own home. I can provide for myself, and I absolutely hate having a job. I tell my fiance all the time, like, when can I quit my job and fold your laundry? Like, I would love to do that every day. So I agree with you. It's a
Yeah.
really good deal to be
It
able to
sure
stay
seems
home.
to be. I don't know
Yeah.
why, if you're saying it's a good deal, though, why you think that women would demand that they be married in order to get this deal. If somebody gave them the same deal and they weren't married, from a secularist perspective, why should they get married?
I think the marriage just provides the security that is going to be provided to them.
Okay, so then let's see if we test this, if this is true. Let's say the man says, okay, I'll get married to you if you sign a prenup that says no matter why we get divorced, I get to keep everything that I bring into the marriage. And so do you. Would you sign that?
I think that certainly puts a boundary around the woman's behavior and motivates her to behave in a certain way in the marriage and make sure that the marriage doesn't deteriorate. So I think that's a good motivation.
Yeah, great. So then if that is the case, then you could definitely have that exact same relationship absent marriage, right?
I see what you're saying. I personally would not be comfortable with it.
Why not?
I believe that man and woman is supposed to get married. I mean, you got married yourself, right? So,
Yeah, I'm religious.
okay.
Yeah. Are you religious?
Yes.
Yeah, so then that would, I can understand, and Brian also argues this as well. He understands why there would be motivation for religious people to get married. But what I don't understand is why there's any motivation for a secularist to get married. I don't actually understand that. Because you can have all of those same exact things absent the marriage. So I don't even understand what the point is.
I agree. Because I think a marriage is also a contract with God.
Wait, if I can actually jump in on this also, even the objections that I raise as to the negatives of marriage, these also apply to religious men too.
Yeah.
Unless they get a covenant marriage. So you can have a covenant marriage and not involve the state,
Right.
and then it's not nearly so egregious. But assuming even then for a second that you do involve the state, at least I understand that motivation, because you're filling out your teleology. So you're, like you said your purpose is to get married, right? So that's part of your telos, or what you consider your purpose to be.
Yes.
So that's part of your religion. I get that. I understand that motivation. Makes total sense to me. What I don't understand, though, is from a secularist perspective, non-religious perspective, what motivation they could possibly have for it, because it just doesn't seem like what would there actually be?
Yeah. No, I understand why you're asking that question, especially with divorce and the way that goes over for men. They get the shorter end of the stick, almost guaranteed. So I understand why men don't want to get married. I do.
Yeah. Could you give a single argument then, from Brian's perspective, who's not religious, why you should actually get married?
I don't think I can.
Why shouldn't Brian be able to have his cake and eat it too?
If he can find a woman who's okay with that, truly, who would be honest and wouldn't hold resentment, then That's great.
Yeah, but I mean, you run that same risk even if you're married. That a woman could be being dishonest and holding resentment. Like that, these are not exclusive to secularists, nor Christians, nor Muslims, nor whoever, right? Whoever gets married, this is still a possibility.
Yeah, but I'm speaking specifically to the idea that the woman, her own moral, a relationship that's not in a marriage, but yet she agrees to it and she allows herself to be in that relationship, and so the resentment is harbored from the lack of legality of the marriage is what I'm specifically talking to. But yes, resentment can.
I don't even know what perks you would get from the legality purpose at this point. What, like a couple of tax breaks?
Tax write-off? Yeah.
You know, some earned income child credits, maybe. It doesn't seem like it's worth it. So I really, like, I've tried to rationalize this. How do you convince a guy like Brian, from a Christian perspective, that they should get married? And I do have good arguments for this, but the women on these panels never do. They never have any, because they only think of it from the perspective of self, which is, oh, it's to protect the woman. It's to do good by the woman. Everything's for the woman.
Perspective of the child too, though. And so if your child asks you, Mom, why didn't you ever marry Dad? You have to be prepared to answer that. And I would assume that a child would want their parents to have a union that's sacred.
Yeah, but why? I mean, again, that's from a religious perspective, because you use the word sacred, right? Secularists don't believe in sacred nothing. So if there's this saying, Mommy and Daddy love each other, and there's these little chemicals in our brains that make us love each other because that's the way that we're constructed, and we love you too because there's chemicals in our brain that make us love you too, and we're going to stay together forever and ever, and that seems to work from a monogamous standpoint. I don't actually know why they would ever want to take the risk of getting the state involved in getting married. I don't actually understand why they would do that. It seems like the dumbest decision possible.
W's in the chat. Don't get married, boys.
I agree with him. I don't want to get married.
W Macy's in the chat.
I just need you to know, though, that I have an ulterior motive for this, and I don't know if I'm going to go to hell for it or not. I sure hope I don't. But my ulterior motive is I want all secularists to end up being genetic dead ends and not to breed, so that the religious take over. That's ultimately, I would prefer that. So if I can give all secularists motivation to not have a healthy, happy marriage and to instead just embrace complete and total selfishness, I actually would prefer that for society. I think that the ends of that would be better.
Well,
Nice. Good times. Good times. Anyways, I think that's it for all the pre-show notes. We're going to get into a couple more things here. Nick, were there any reacts we had to do, or I think?
No, remember that article? Like, I found a video of the.
the musician.
I think we need Macy and you to stand up one more time, just so, because Andrew wasn't here. He needs to see this.
I'll stand up first this time. Okay. Here's me. I'm standing as tall as I can.
Oh, chair.
No comment?
Nice.
I think you gotta hit that cricket button one more time.
All right, cool. She's taller than you, Andrew. What do you think of that?
I mean, it happens.
It happens. It happens. So I do want to, just show of hands, I mean, we kind of did this again, but I want to get into a bit more detail here. Who's a feminist? Show of hands.
I guess.
By Andrew's definition that he provided earlier.
Now suddenly nobody's a feminist.
They're not a feminist anymore.
Can you pull up the Google definition?
I guess we could do that. While we do that, just going around the table, what do you think of, or what do you think of, oh my God.
Okay, so the Google said the definition, the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes. So an entailment of equality of the sexes is going to be rejection of patriarchy, otherwise you can't be equal, right? You would agree that that's true? So then my definition was absolutely correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Let's see. So, going around the table, I'll just ask my stack. Who is the primary victim of war, men or women?
War?
Yeah, who's the primary victim of war, men or women?
Men?
Men.
Men.
I think both.
Both?
Men.
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 Equally.
Equally?
Men.
Did the German girl say equally? Okay. So, why and why, for those of you who said equally?
I think everyone suffers from war, right? Like there are more fatalities within men, but suffrage is different, right? Everyone suffers, so equally they both suffer.
Are there different degrees of suffering? Like somebody who stubs their toe, for example, suffers less than somebody who loses a family member. Would you agree with that statement?
Sorry, could you repeat that one more time? You're saying that.
What?
Repeat that one more time. You said.
Okay, somebody who stubs their toe, they bang their toe on a corner, versus somebody who loses a family member.
Which is worse?
Is the suffering worse?
Obviously, the person who lost a family member is worse. So are you saying, like, between men and women, whose suffering is worse because men, for example, and then women, for example?
Well, I mean, you said everybody suffers, therefore it's equal. But granting that women will suffer in war, is the suffering equal to the suffering of men? Knowing what you know
Well,
about
obviously
war.
they're different, right? But the way that women have to suffer, they lose a son, they lose a brother, they lose a dad. That suffering, you can't compare the two, but that suffering, you can't say that that suffering is less than men suffering because they're dying in war or they're getting shot up in war or
So,
whatnot.
well, so, okay, the question is, who's the primary victim? So when it comes to, I guess, victimhood status, are you more a victim if you're murdered as compared to being the family of the murdered?
I think
I'm not
You're
saying,
both
I'm sure the
victims.
suffering, I'm sure it'd be awful to have a family member murdered. But they didn't get murdered.
you still didn't get murdered.
Let me
but
ask you a
you're
question.
victim.
Would you rather be murdered, or would you rather someone you know got murdered and deal with the suffering that would come along with that?
I'd rather both of us not get murdered.
Can you engage with a hypothetical?
No, I don't want to,
Why not?
because I don't want to. I don't want to.
It's not even like a
No, I know, but I don't wanna
crazy,
think about it.
controversial.
Either way, my answer
You don't
is
have
I
the
think
you don't
both
have the
are
mental
suffering.
constitution to
No,
think
I'm
about a
saying I don't want to think
hypothetical.
about it at all. Just that in itself, I don't want to think about it. But my answer still stays, right? I think both suffer. Both are victims.
Okay, question. Your cousin is murdered. Would you prefer that over you being murdered?
Would I rather have my cousin murdered or me be murdered?
Yes, in terms of perhaps the framing could be like, what would have a bigger impact on you?
Of course, my cousin being murdered would have a bigger impact because me being murdered, how the fuck would I remember that, right?
All right, I'm moving it over.
Oh, here, hang on. Let me just engage very quickly. In life, are you going to suffer?
Everyone suffers, yes.
Is it preferable to live, even though you suffer?
Sorry, what? I was reading.
Is it preferable to live even though you suffer?
Yes.
Okay, well then if it's preferable to live even though you suffer, then if men are dying and you're not, then isn't it preferable for you to be in the state where you're not dying and so can live to suffer?
No, I'd rather kill myself because I don't want to see my men, my brothers, my dad, all the men around me to die and then me suffer watching that.
Okay.
So you said it's equal. Why do you think that?
Because I think if there's war in your country, it's just like it's terrible, even if you're not drafted. And I think if your partner or family member or friend dies in war, I think I'd say it's also terrible for
Well, let me ask you about a recent
because they have to
conflict
live
then.
with that.
You're from Germany, you live in Europe, you're not too far away from Ukraine. In Ukraine, all the women could leave the country.
Yeah.
Men between the ages of 18 and either 60 or 65, I need to figure out what the actual number is. Men had to stay in the country, they could not leave the country. Men are overwhelmingly the casualties of war in the Ukraine conflict, the civilian and the military casualties. Knowing that all women, if they were inclined to, could flee the country and all men had to stay, in this specific conflict, would you say that the suffering experienced comparatively between Ukrainian women and Ukrainian men is comparable, is equal?
I think it's really hard to tell, but I've not seen any of those men, but I've seen kids on the street who were allowed to come to our countries suffer and cry for their parents or dad because they don't have them anymore, and I think that's pretty much equal.
Well, I would imagine the distribution of children is 50-50 about between boys and girls. So the suffering between boys and girls would be equalized.
I mean, little boys are not forced to stay in Ukraine.
No, but
Well-
I'm saying they can flee, but the question is between men and women, but the children, the distribution there is probably fairly equal, 50-50. So you have both boys and girls who are suffering.
Yeah.
Okay.
You think they're suffering equally?
The kids, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And so what
Then
about,
let me ask you this. When it comes to suffering, are people capable of moving on from the death of a loved one?
I don't know. I think
You've never had a loved one die?
no,
Never.
never.
Okay, but do you concede that there are people who have loved ones die every day and they are able over time to move on from those traumas, right?
I'm sure there are, but I'm
Yeah.
sure there
Can you move on? Hang on. I'm sure there are. Can you move on from death?
no, but
No. So then how are these even close to equally yoked if you can move on from the suffering of a loved one dying, but you can't move on from death? How can you ever compare and say that the victims then primarily would be both? It would only be one, right? You could at least recover from the suffering of the loss of a loved one, but can you recover from death?
no, you can't. But
No.
you don't have to suffer through the life after.
Wait, so suffering it's a death is preferable to suffering?
I mean, no, I guess not.
Okay, I guess not. Isn't in your life, haven't you suffered?
Not as bad as.
I'm not saying it's bad, but you have suffered, right? Yeah, and I noticed that you're still quite alive. And you probably likely prefer to be alive, correct?
Yeah, because my worst suffering was when I when I got injured or something, like nothing terrible.
Yeah, so, but the thing is that even though you suffer, you still prefer life.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If you could ask all of the dead soldiers on the battlefield that one question, would you prefer that I brought you back to life even though you would suffer, or would you prefer to be dead? Which answer do you think they'd give you?
Honestly, after what the soldiers experienced on the battlefield, seeing friends being blown up by bombs, I think they would not want to live anymore.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So you think that they would prefer to be dead. That's awful convenient that you think that the people who have to die in lieu of you, because you can't be drafted nor be sent to war, would prefer to be dead over having to suffer, but you have an equal claim to their suffering because, after all, you're still alive and have to deal with the aftermath, right? Poor you.
No, okay,
They would prefer to be dead, right? They would prefer it. They wouldn't want to be alive.
No, I'm talking for myself. I just can't imagine that I still would want to live. But I also see your point that it's like, yeah, I probably agree that men who are drafted have it harder if they actually have to fight there.
What if they just volunteer? They still have it harder.
Yeah, of course. But if they volunteer, I think it's way different than if you have to.
Yeah, I don't think it's way different. So let's try this. Dear Amanda, I've been in the trenches for 15 months, fighting a brutal war. I can't wait to get home to you and my 3 young children. Wait for me, my dear. I love you. Boom, a grenade goes off and blows him to smithereens. You think that he would prefer to stay dead rather than have to deal with the suffering of his friends getting killed on the battlefield. Is that really your position after you think about it for even 1 second?
No, I think for some people it is that way. I'm not talking about everyone.
Sure, some, but I mean, not even the vast majority, right? It can't even be that way for the vast majority of them.
I think if you live through horrible things in war and experience horrible things, some people probably don't want to live anymore with that.
Okay, well, I'll just end this real quick so Brian can move it on with a final quote from a famous movie called Full Metal Jacket. One of the most famous lines from that movie was, "The dead only know one thing, that it's better to be alive."
Those were some new arguments, by the way, Andrew. Those were very good. Now, I think there's a bit of confusion here also, though, because we're trying to compare the degrees of suffering. It's not really the question, though. It's who is the primary victim of war, men or women. I just find that interesting. In any case, though, Natalie, at least in the Ukraine example, you have not been convinced that men are the primary victims of war.
Well, yeah, I see your point, and I think it makes sense, but I don't know, not much. I wouldn't say it's much more of a victim, but yeah, probably a little bit more.
What about you?
I believe that men have it worse.
Men's lives are harder.
Why is it so hard for some women to acknowledge, like, you can acknowledge, like, women have it worse in this way, 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 this way. But even in the one that appears so obvious, you can't even grant to men one grievance, one way in which they can be considered a victim. I find that really interesting.
Men are still the victim, just a lot of people are the victim if there's war.
But I mean, if we're doing a comparison, so feminism, the genesis of feminism is a comparison between men and women. Men have it better in X way, men have this right, women get mistreated in this way. But it's interesting, you can't even, in this situation, I think there's no doubts that men are more, like if you look at death rates, for example, throughout all of human history, you look at World War I, you look at World War II, there's tens of millions of male-only military deaths. And somehow...
I think we can tie it up pretty easy with this idea. If I were to ask you this question, do men or women suffer more during childbirth?
Women?
You want everybody or just the people who said...
Just the people who said war. Do men or women suffer more during childbirth?
Women.
Yeah, probably.
Wait, women? What about my trauma from seeing my poor woman going through all that agony and pain, and I can't do anything about it, and then I have to live with that.
Then
I have
you're
to
also a
live
victim.
with the fact that she was in... Wait, why would she be the primary victim? What about my trauma? What about my
then you guys can
suffering
be
from having to
equal.
see that?
Oh my God, you also have trauma then. You're also a victim.
Yeah, I'm total. In fact, wouldn't you say that I'm an equal victim?
If you want to be, yeah.
Okay, well then, I guess
do you want
I
me to
want to.
say?
So over to the one who's not trolling, doesn't have the stupid Coke bottle glasses. Can you answer my question? Are men or women the primary victim of pregnancy pain and childbirth?
Well, women, but I also think it's
Wait, why? Why are women the primary victims of that?
because their body suffers.
Oh, and whose body suffers in the war?
Okay, but
Oh,
but no,
oops.
no.
Oops.
no, oops. But the gotcha, bitch. No oops, no oops.
Wait, go ahead, continue. Go ahead.
But for the war, like the man just stands there in a hospital and like has to help the woman a little bit. But for war,
No. It's the trauma. Don't you understand? It's the trauma. It's the fact that I have to live with the fact that I couldn't do anything while she was going through all that pain and agony. And it's haunted me forever. How am I not at the same scale of victim as she is, even though it's her body that's being ripped asunder? Can you explain that to me?
I just don't think childbirth is that traumatizing.
Oh, yeah. I just don't think that you not getting blown up is as traumatizing as getting blown up either. But, what do I know?
It is traumatizing to getting blowing up.
Yes, is it more traumatizing for the loved one to get blown up or for you to get blown up?
Probably for you to get blown up.
Yeah, probably for you to get blown up. So then, therefore, the primary victims of war would have to be
Men.
yeah, men. Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
you got it.
Oh, boy. Okay. Let me read some chats. We have a few more questions. We have Lol Paladins. I'm curious if she even knows she is brainwashed. She literally quoted Hillary Clinton word for word 1998. Does she even know that she just did that? Yeah, I mean, this actually question originates in Hillary Clinton. She said that women have always been the primary victims of war. That's probably not precisely verbatim, but essentially. GR Gracie, Bry, In and Out is doing wonders for your cup size. Thank you, man. Rocking the dad bod. Gotta lose weight. Working on it, boys. Working on it. To the boring, disinterested panel, what would make you more engaging? A, shots, B, lines, C, talk more about yourself, or D, shiny things?
Shots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like injections?
No.
No, like
alcohol.
Yeah. Thank you, Gracie. Good to see you in the chat. We have Epirus. Thank you, man. Would the girls next to Brian ever consider a man making $500K a year?
What?
So I guess this is you and Morgan and Natalie. Would you consider a man who makes $500,000 a year? Excuse me.
For the hypothetical, we're going to pretend that I'm not taken.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is like asking a guy, would you consider dating a girl with big tits and a fat ass?
Yeah.
What? What? Bruh, come on. That's crazy, bro. Would you consider dating a billionaire? Would you?
I guess. Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I think he's shooting his shot. Epirus, are you shooting your shot? Would you date him? That's all you know. He makes $500K a year. That's all you know.
Made it very clear I'm taken and not interested.
$500K a year. Oh, snap. Okay, good for you, man. Congrats. Congrats, Epirus. Appreciate it. Okay, can we pull up Andrew's photo really quick? I'm missing it.
Yeah.
I need it. Pull it up really quick. Oh my God, Natalia! Thank you for the gifted 20 memberships. Appreciate it. Oh, that was it? That's all I get? Okay. Rude.
Good.
Damn, look at this jawline.
Right?
Yo, me and Andrew were joining Weight Watchers. All right.
But do we have
What's
proof
that?
that's him?
That is, what do you mean?
Yeah, it looks just like
I don't know.
Wait, Andrew, what's your body count?
I would never, like the host of the show, it's privileged information.
It's true. It's true.
It wouldn't be nearly as fun to, when there's trolls and I'm trolling back, if I revealed just how much of a stud I truly am not. That would make the trolls not nearly as fun, right? That would make it, wouldn't make it as fun.
Going around on this, are men or women, who's physically stronger, men or women?
Men.
Wait,
Yeah.
anybody think woman?
I got guns, but
She's got guns.
No, I think men are stronger.
Like naturally, men.
Yeah. Men.
The women who are majoring in biology, like, isn't the muscle fiber of
Yes.
a man actually
Yeah,
more
and
dense than that of a woman?
Yes.
They're just naturally
Men
stronger.
are stronger. There's no way of going.
Women
about
have
that.
thinner
Some women are
bones.
stronger.
There's like
than
women
men.
who are stronger. Like,
pretend.
I know I'm stronger than a lot of men.
Right, but I'm saying like the actual.
yeah, like,
Yes, the makeup of a
tissue,
man
the-
is
Anatomically,
yes,
yes,
absolutely.
men are stronger.
So, next question. Can you be sexist towards men?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Starting, we'll just get answers from everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Of course.
Oh, okay. All right. Can you be racist towards white people? Go ahead, Macy.
Try not answer.
You got to answer, Macy. You
Yes,
got
you
to
can.
answer.
Yes, you
I thought we
can.
weren't supposed to
I feel like
ask these kinds of
racism-
questions.
This is fine. This is fair game. Don't worry about it.
This
Wait,
is fair
sorry, go ahead.
game.
This is
I feel
fair.
like racism can go like any way. So
Okay, so yes, you can. Okay. What about you?
Oh, you're for real?
I'm for real, for real. For real, for real. When keeping it real goes wrong, I'm going to keep it real. I'm keeping it real.
Shit, I don't know.
I'm
I'm very
real.
mixed on this question. Like people have asked me, and I never know how to answer.
Tell us how you really feel.
Dude, I literally,
Mask off. Tell us how you really feel.
like, I can't.
Tell us
Like
how.
it's like, I understand both ends of the stick. Like I
Yeah.
can't outweigh one more than the other. It's a really mixed.
Can Mongolian people be racist towards white people?
Dude, like, it's the same question. Can you be racist to white people?
Yeah, exactly.
You just rephrased the question.
I'm trying to
so
help you out, bro. I'm trying to
it's
give you
not
a-
helping me. I can't outweigh it.
So should we just assume that your answer is no? You can't be racist towards white people.
No.
Can't you make inferences, Andrew? Can't you, like, by virtue of someone refusing to answer a question, can you not make inferences
Yeah.
about their position? Or is that?
Yeah, you can make inferences, but that doesn't mean that
I'm
they're going to
inferring.
be. That doesn't mean that they're going to be rational.
I'm inferring, I'm making an inference. Regardless of the rationality of it, I've inferred. I have inferred. I've made an inference. How do you feel about that? I've inferred. Do you infer? Do you like to infer?
I concur that you infer.
I concur that you concur.
Can you be racist?
What about you?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
100%.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually wrote a paper about this in college, and I failed the class because of it.
Oh my god. Did you say yes and you failed?
There's the T.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
Wait, you failed the class because why? Like,
That paper.
What was
Did you
the,
say
what was
yes
your
in your
position in the paper?
I was talking about reverse racism against whites, and the professor just disagreed with me, gave me a failing grade on the
That's
paper,
great.
even though
That's
it met all
crazy.
the requirements of the paper.
It was well written.
Yeah.
What ethnicity was the professor?
Oh, shit.
You're
was
supposed,
white.
aren't you supposed to just lie in college? Like
Oh,
if you're
no, I
conservative,
refuse
isn't the
to.
doctrine you just lie and just tell them what they want to hear? Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
That's what you're
supposed
supposed
to just
to
like
do
lie?
in college. Yeah, college is supposed to brainwash you, but I refuse.
Okay. Well, anyways, moving on. Do we live in a patriarchy? Macy, starting with you.
Can we go like that way?
No, we gotta start over here. We gotta start over here.
Tallest to shortest.
That's how it works.
Okay, I'm the shortest, so. Actually,
I feel like currently no.
Previously, yes. Okay.
Previously yes.
yeah, I would say closer to no.
Closer to no.
Yeah, I'd agree. Closer to no.
Closer to no.
Yeah, I think we're
Closer to no. When you say no.
like yes, but we're inching towards a no.
Well,
Okay,
If
so
that
there's
makes
there's still a patriarchy,
Like
but
yes,
it's not
but
as
there's
bad.
obviously progression.
It's not as bad.
Bingo.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't even think we live in a patriarchy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Me neither.
Depends. What does that mean?
Well, patriarchy has different definitions.
Just means that men are basically in charge
What
of
the
shit.
fuck?
That's it.
Pin that chat.
Huh?
I'd say 51%.
Did you see the chat? What did it say?
It said Brian has a crush on you.
Anyways, let's stay focused here. Patriarchy? Believe in patriarchy?
Yeah.
Believe in the patriarchy?
Yeah, it's a little bit there.
Even when Angela Merkel was running the German government for a long ass time? Was it the patriarchy
Well,
then?
America never had a girl president.
Yeah, what about Germany though?
Yeah, but we're in America right now.
Okay, all right. Coming down this way?
I don't think we are currently.
Yeah, I think the patriarchy has been ruined.
Patriarchy's ruined, you're in favor of the patriarchy.
I'm in favor.
She's in favor of the patriarchy. Do you guys, okay, so I've heard this, like, under the patriarchy, women are oppressed. Do you agree? Like, do you think women are oppressed in the U.S.?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Well, let's just let people answer.
They can be, but like no.
They can be, but no.
Yeah, but that's like with everything, so I'd interested to know.
Okay.
I think to a certain extent, both men and women are.
No.
No.
Is that your genuine answer?
Yes.
I don't know. Earlier, she tried to make the argument that women have less rights than men, though. So it's a contradiction.
I said what I said.
She said what she said.
Wait, I have a question.
What?
Do you guys believe in gender equality?
No.
Me neither.
First of all, I don't believe in gender at all. I don't even think gender exists. It's just nonsense. Nonsensical, made-up word. There's only sex. That's all there's ever been. And people make a conflation. They say gender, they actually mean sex. And so what happens in the commons is when people say gender, they actually mean sex. They actually mean male, female, not gender. Gender is just nonsense, made-up bullshit, essentially. That's my worldview on it.
I believe in gender equity.
Equity. I love equity. What is what is
Okay, can I give
equity?
an example? This is how I think of it.
Are you going to give me the box example, the standing over the
Yes!
fence? Yeah, you're going to give me the box example.
Yeah.
Did you just learn this in Feminist 101 the other day?
No.
The box example. You stand up on the box, and the person next to you has a shorter box. You got to give them a bigger box so they can stand over the fence too.
No, I didn't just learn that. See, they don't even know it.
I don't know. Yeah.
Go ahead. Explain the box. Explain standpoint theory. The box. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. Basically, the equality is everyone has the same box, but not everyone can see over the fence. And then equity is everyone gets the box according to their height so that everyone can see the exact same over the fence.
Don't you think that the...
Why does everybody deserve to have the same box size?
Right.
Correct.
Why does everybody deserve to have the same box size?
I don't think they do.
Right. So then you don't believe in equity.
Why?
Well, so what you're
They
saying
all have
is
different box.
all of us have a box,
Yeah.
right? That's equality, correct?
Right.
But the boxes are different sizes. And so you have to increase some box sizes
Right.
so that they get bigger so that you can then look over the fence, right?
Right.
Why do people deserve to have the larger boxes? Why do you actually deserve to have that?
Maybe we don't deserve it, but just so everyone can see the same.
Well, should they be given the ability to work to get that box? Right.
Definitely.
Okay. Do you think people don't have that opportunity?
Well, I think everyone has the opportunity to work. It's just what you do with your time. Like, I see people on the road begging for money with the same time, and I get that people have disabilities and everything, but that same time,
Sorry, go ahead.
that same time that you're
What the
spending
fuck
out
was
there,
that?
you could literally be trying to get a job.
More productive as your
Exactly.
Why would you want to try to get a job? Those bums are making $60,000 a year panhandling on the street. They don't give a shit about a
San
job.
Francisco, they're getting
Plus, they
paid.
never report any of the income. So due to people who love equity like yourself, what ends up happening is the state comes in and gives them tons of cash, sets them up with tons of social programs. They go get food stamp cards that are loaded with $2,000 of EBT spending cash because they're homeless. They get literally free health care because they get put on Medicaid. And then on top of that, they get put in low-income housing, so their rent is only 1/10 of what a normal person's rent is, and they have just as nice of a place. How the fuck is that equitable? How is that equity? You know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like what happens is you take my box and you shrink it to make your box bigger.
Good way to put it.
Well, I don't think you can break down the something as nuanced as economy or gender dynamics, or I don't think you can break that down to this box example. There's way more like complexity and nuance to it. I don't think, I mean, in that specific example, it makes sense, but I don't know if that maps onto applying it to like economics or like gender stuff. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, but that's, but I mean, speaking to equity, equity is every bit as impossible as equality because it's just the same principle. It's the same exact principle applied. You still want everybody to have an equally sized box so that they can see over the fence. So our equality standard now is just everybody has to be here, right? It's still the same exact principle. Same principle applied. It's just now we have to move the goalpost so everybody can see over the fence the same way. And this kind of idea of sameness and interchange of that human beings are interchangeable widgets, right? So I think that there's a lot of people don't deserve to see over the fence. Fuck them, as the proverbial saying goes, right? Fuck them. A lot of people absolutely do everything in their life to make damn sure that they'll never see over the fence. And why should they be able to? While good working people are busting their ass so that they can build that bar. That's what I never understood about the equity argument. I just never really understood it. It doesn't make any, it just sounds like it's egalitarianism just framed in a different way.
Word. Hold on, guys, one sec. Let's see. Any those of you who like have seen the show before, any disagreements either that you have with me or Andrew that haven't already been addressed throughout the show? Going once?
Yeah, actually.
Okay,
I think I wrote it in the pre-notes thing,
Yeah.
and I was kind of talking about Nala Ray because, like, she's changed. Do you believe a woman can change as when she, like, a reborn again virgin?
No, you can't become a born again.
Right, you can't be a
No,
virgin. You can't
that's,
be a virgin again. No.
That's
but-
Protestant prattle.
Okay.
They're conflating two different ideas. Idea one is that if you are a Christian, you convert to Christianity.
Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't know if you were saying something.
No, the chat.
No, I was.
Oh,
responding
my
to the
bad.
chat.
Yeah.
So if you convert to Christianity, yes, your sins are. This is what is then conflated with born again virgin. No, your virginity is gone, and the amount of sex that you had doesn't go away.
Right.
That still happened, right? Your sins don't go away either. They're just forgiven. They're forgiven. This is the principle and the point, right? So the thing is that the idea of born again virginity is basically a bunch of feminist cope, right? There's a lot of feminists who move towards Christianity specifically as a shield from criticism, rather than as a way to salvation. And so that's why we end up with these female ministers who preach these crazy ass gospels that make no sense at all.
I agree with that.
Okay. Anything else? TTS is now $69 TTS. And then back to the notes here. So we have, let's see. Sorry, I lost my place in the notes here. Going around the table, are your parents still together?
Yes.
No. Yes. Yes.
No, they have been divorced 3 times and are on their now 3rd marriage. Well, divorced twice on their 3rd marriage.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No.
No.
All right. And one sec. Where did my... Sorry, guys. I lost my place in my notes here.
Johns_Myth donated $69. Where does Big Red stand? Literally, in the box
You don't
analogy.
need a box because she's perfect. Period.
Okay.
She's seeing over the fence.
Yeah.
Question. Is a man less of a...
But all of you can't see over the fence unless we get you a bigger box, right?
I don't need to.
Isn't that the point? How could he ever be equitable?
I don't know.
with
I don't watch
someone?
baseball. Fuck that shit. Stupid box. It's a baseball game. Who the fuck gives a fuck about a box to a baseball game? What the fuck? Get out of here with your fucking 1930s pastime. Fuck that shit.
Okay.
Ooh, I watch baseball. When was that even a thing? In the 40s? Fucking Babe Ruth? Who gives a fuck?
I like baseball.
I just got like 10. I got like 100 unsubscribes right there.
But,
like baseball?
but Brian, what about a league of their own where Dottie could catch the ball with her bare hand, Brian? What about that?
Yeah, I don't know. How many fucking baseball games are there in a season? Goddamn, it's like
There's a
200
lot.
goddamn games. I can't follow this shit. Get out of here with your fucking 500 games. Okay. Anyways. Is a man less of a man if he can't change a flat tire?
Oh gosh.
Yo, AB Check, thank you for the gifted memberships.
Yeah.
Yes, less of a man if you can't change a flat tire, but no?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
No, but I would want my man to know how to change tire.
So he's less of a man then.
I
You
don't
wouldn't
think
date
he'd
the guy.
Own it, girl.
Own it. Own it.
I guess.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Can't change a Volkswagen.
You can just find it on
It's
YouTube and
just a done deal.
do it that
Okay. Yes.
I said yes.
So then, for those of you who said yes, is a woman less of a woman if she can't cook a meal?
I was literally